and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
I'm Jeff Onan.
And, we're talking about Lego on this episode.
Is that a Lego thing? Is that a phrase? Is that like their marketing? Lego.
No, I think that's more like the Eggo waffle slogan, at least from back in the day. It was like, Lego my ego. Or no, it's SpaghettiOs. So I'm combining just all the foodstuffs. Don't eat Lego. Don't eat them. You'll choke. I'm sure people have. I'm sure people do every day. I'm sure they pass them and it hurts.
It's a sexual thing.
It is. And we're not here to disparage the good people at Lego brand bricks. We're not here to tell you to do sexual things with their product. I'm friends with them now. So, social media friends. Well, I followed them, but they're good people because they're making Donkey Kong product, and that's all you need in our books to be a good person. It's a really narrow, short morality bridge to cross, but we are excited, I guess. Well, you're excited, Jeff. You wanted to be on this episode. I guess you're excited. I don't know why you're here otherwise.
I'm excited, like in the abstract. I'm not going to buy these. I'm not a millionaire. But I've always been a friend to the Danish people. Yeah. So I support that.
Yeah, I like the pastries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
all the other things they're known for.
Am I just hungry right now? What is the sensation I'm feeling? I want little rounded noodles. I want waffles, and I want Danishes.
Well, Lego will do that to you. It's the shape of it. It reminds you of eating.
It's hungry work constructing your play sets rather than just buying them. No, so we're going to be getting into the ins and outs of Lego Super Mario, Donkey Kong expansion sets, which I believe is the official name for this malarkey. But, it's probably a bad time when they just announced well over $200 worth of Donkey Kong Lego product to plug our merchandise store because, as you said, you're not a millionaire, Jeff. You're not a millionaire Lego collector. And why are we trying to get people to spend even more money on nonsense? But it is the beginning of a new month, and we have new product in our Donkey Kong universe-oriented merchandise store at TeePublic. If you go to dkvine.com/merchandise, you can now get a pretty sweet Congo Customs garage style shirt. If you liked that bit in the Mario movie where they're making the carts in the Kong temple, then this shirt is kind of like that. It's got the little head on it with the wrenches coming out. There's a Diddy Kong racing reference in there because I couldn't help myself. Yeah, it's a great shirt. Buy it. We also have the vintage 2001 to 2004 era DK Vine logo. Well, the DK Vine logo done in that style. So if you are a fan of our website from the period where the rare buyout happened and everybody was arguing with each other, then hey, you can buy the shirt that honors that. The little moldy cheese font that our website used to have its logo in. It's great. dkvine.com/merchandise, or just find us on TeePublic. And we are on Twitch right now, and, I don't know if we're going to, come August, have a big unboxing ceremony for all of this Donkey Kong stuff on Twitch, but that's an idea. We'll have to think about that. And you can find us at twitch.tv/DKVine. We stream 2 to 3 times a week. Idaho Crew streams on Tuesdays. I stream most Wednesdays with DK Vine Done Slow. And then we've got DK Vine's Stream of Thieves on Sunday mornings. So check us out. Subscribe. If you subscribe, you don't even get the ads that people love so much. Twitch. And don't forget to check us out on Patreon if you like the work we do. If you want to support independent Donkey Kong journalism, then the fastest and most efficient way to do so would be to back us on Patreon. Keeps the lights on, as I like to say, because that electricity bill gets up there in the summertime. So we gotta be mindful of that. But you can help us stay cool, calm, and collected, reporting on all of the DKU news come this stinky ape summer by going to dkbind.com/Patreon. All right, Jeff.
All right.
So let's talk a little bit about Lego Super Mario. Well, yeah, because a lot of people weren't happy when they announced the Lego Super Mario set. Because, okay, there are Lego fans, right? There are Lego fans. I have to watch myself too, because you so readily want to pluralize Lego as Legos, like Legos. It's just what your brain and tongue wants to do. But that's not actually correct. Lego in and of itself is plural. Actually, according to the Lego company, Lego bricks is their preferred way of phrasing it. But I'm not going to do that. That's too far. I'm only going to meet them halfway here by just saying Lego. Now, Jeff, if you would like to say Legos, I will allow you that luxury.
Right, so I can get the hate mail. You guys can email me at...
Thanks for doxing
Gmail.
me. Thanks for doxing my personal email account there.
I'm pretty sure it's on the website.
It's Hyle at dkvine.com is my fashion.
It's okay. You're gonna edit it out. You'll just bleep it. Then this will be a funny bit.
It'll be hilarious bit.
I like Lego. I sometimes accidentally call them Legos, but I don't like the Lego Super Mario line. It's ugly.
So that's what a lot of people feel. And, I don't really have too much of a dog in this fight because I'm not Michael Vick. But...
Good joke.
Thank you.
Really timely.
It's timelier than most of my jokes. Fuck you. I'm working my way up to the early to mid-aughts. I mean, come on. That's pretty impressive. So I'm at that weird age, Jeff, where... I always viewed Lego as like kiddie stuff, right? Where when I was really, really young, really the only Lego sets we really had were just the tubs. You got a tub of Lego and you built little houses with them and they would kind of suck. But that's what Lego was. And that, I was still technically, a minor when they started releasing the more elaborate tie-ins and the big sets like for Star Wars and what have you. But by that point, I was like, it's just Lego. I'm not interested in Lego. That's kids stuff. I'm a sophisticated man about town now. I don't have time to sully my brain with things made for babies. So I kind of just skirted right past the whole Lego craze where you would have Lego Star Wars, Lego Harry Potter, Lego this, Lego that. Pretty much a Lego set for every conceivable thing, right? As such, I have, up until the last week, never bought any Lego in my life with my own money. Like, never. So, when they announced that there were going to be Mario Lego, of course I was interested because, of course, in the back of your mind, when you're a hyper-focused Donkey Kong obsessive, you think, okay, there might be Donkey Kong stuff in this set. I have to pay attention a little bit. And there wasn't. And it was ugly. And because the whole gimmick, and I don't know if this was Lego's brainchild or if it was Nintendo's idea, but the whole idea with Lego Super Mario is not, we're just going to build a little replica from the games. Like, we're going to build Peach's Castle, and it's Peach's Castle. What a fun display piece this is. It's more, let's take the concept of levels from Super Mario and allow kids to build their own. It's basically taking Super Mario Maker into the physical realm with Lego bricks. And because of that, there's this whole interactive thing with it where you take Mario, the little Mario figure, and then later Luigi and Peach, the figures you get in the starter sets. They can interact with these varying bricks that you put them on the little platform, and the characters will have unique interactions with their environments that you can build for them. And you can buy all sorts of different sets that represent things from the new Super Mario Brothers games. And you can buy little blind packs of different enemies. I think they just released a set that had like Birdo in it. But, you know, you're not just buying Birdo. It's a gamble. You have to feel the bag to know what you're getting. So that's basically what it is. It's taking the idea of constructing your own fun that was what Lego was when I was a kid, and sort of applying it to this brand tie-in mentality that's sort of defined Lego for the past 25 years or so.
My thing with this is, okay, even before Lego became basically synonymous with brand tie-ins, in the late 90s and early in the 2000s, they had their own kind of brands before that. Like before they did Lego Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh yeah.
All the way back to the late 80s, they had Lego Pirates. And all the way back to the late 70s, they had Lego Castles and Lego Space Set. And they had their own spacemen before they had Star Wars. And so the minifigure, which is what Lego calls their figurines of people, little Lego people, which are designed to fit into the Lego ecosystem. They can attach to bricks, and they're a certain specific height, and their hands can hold things. The minifigure was introduced in 1978, and it has been essentially standard since then. 50 years almost, we're talking here.
Uh-huh.
And so, you know, when they started doing themed sets, that part of the novelty of it was that people were already used to what Lego was and what these sets were. So seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi imagined as a minifigure was novel. It's like, whoa, look, Darth Vader as a minifigure? Look at his little hands. This is crazy. But, you know, that was cool. And I grew up, I'm a lot younger than you.
A lot. Yeah, I like how you're first trying to be gentle with that, and then you're just like, no, fuck his feelings.
Yeah, I'm hitting you with bricks here. We're not. This isn't the Lego gel. This isn't the Jello episode. It's the Lego episode. But you know, I grew up, especially at that age of playing with Legos in the late '90s and then into the early 2000s, when the biggest properties in the world were the Star Wars prequels and the Harry Potter movies. Because I grew up with only really good movies. And those were like insanely popular Lego sets. I had one of each. I had a small Star Wars one that was Obi-Wan in a spaceship. Most of the Star Wars ones are about a spaceship. And then I think I had, I don't know, the Troll in the Dungeon from the first Harry Potter movie. But the point is that taking these IPs and universes and then imagining them in the Lego mold, in the Lego styling, that is novel in and of itself, but then it's also part of a standardized system that can be mixed and matched. And I think that, I don't know if you've ever seen the Lego movie.
You know, I try to avoid anything Chris Pratt is in, which is why I haven't seen the Mario movie yet. I've just been making it up as I go along. I think I've gotten pretty close. Nobody's really called me out yet on having not seen it.
That explains all that stuff about the sex scene. I was like, I didn't remember the sex scene. But yeah, no, the Lego movie, to me, it really captured one thing in particular, which is the child imagination of taking these IPs, whether they be original Lego IP or big IP like the Lord of the Ring or whatever, and mixing and matching them and telling your own like childlike stories, which is what every kid does with their action figures, you know.
What Will Ferrell didn't want his child doing in the movie.
You said you didn't see it.
I guess I did.
Jesus Christ.
It was on an airplane and I didn't have earbuds, so I just watched it without sound, but I got the gist of it.
Or did you just make an airplane out of Lego?
Oh my god.
So anyway, my point with all of this is to say it bothered me when they did this Super Mario set for two reasons. One, just the principled conceptual fact that these do not fit the system of mixing and matching and like there's no Mario minifigure that is exactly that same size, which means that you can't take the Mario from this set and put him in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon or whatever you might want to do to mix and match your Legos. You can't have him walk through normal sized Lego doors if you built a Lego house or castle. He doesn't get to lay down in a Lego bed and have Lego sex. I don't know if there's sex sets. Anyway, it bothers me on a principle level that they chose not to do that here. But also just on a practical, like on an execution level, the thing they did alternatively, I think sucks. I think it's dumb. At least with the Super Mario sets specifically, how they are these like linear little like Super Mario Brothers 1-esque levels. They're like, okay, here's a warp pipe, here's a piranha plant, here's a flagpole, here's a brick to hit, and you could take this ugly, stupid, chunky Mario that is not a minifigure, and he's got some beep boop sounds, he's got electronic beep boop sounds, so if you touch him to the brick, you'll hear that coin sound effect. And don't you love to hear the coin sound effect? I can't, it's hard for me to imagine how much a kid would even play with this. The novelty would wear off in 0.5 seconds of you move the Mario next to the brick and it hits the coin sound effect. I don't give a shit about that. I want to put him in the Millennium Falcon, but they don't let you.
I have to imagine, just knowing how precious Nintendo is with their IPs and with their licensing, this was probably a condition, right? When I said Nintendo might have pitched this to Lego, or maybe Lego pitched this to Nintendo to get them on board, but it was like, it's impossible to mix Mario with any other Lego set. Like, you don't want Toad going to Hogwarts. You don't want Luigi in the Batmobile. You just have Mario, and that's it.
I think it could be an element of them being precious with the IP, but I also think it's a case, which is always the case, of Nintendo being too clever by half, thinking that they can do something Lego's never done and make it novel and cool.
Yeah.
And it just completely, and this is probably unfounded and insulting, but to me it sounds like a Miyamoto idea. It just sounds like him saying, look, wouldn't this be cool? And nobody told him no. Nobody at Lego, because the Danes are so polite. Nobody at Lego told him, this sucks. And guess what? It does. I'm not buying that. I'm not a millionaire. But I will say that it did eventually lead to us getting the Donkey Kong stuff, which we're going to be talking about today, which I think looks a lot better, even though it's still founded in the same kind of principles of the Mario set that I am not a fan of.
So you mentioned how bland looking a lot of the Mario stuff is, like these sets you can buy that replicate levels. A lot of them are pretty bare basics, and I said they seem to be based off of the new Super Mario Brothers games, because they don't really go that far back. Now, there are better sets you can buy that are more money. When I was perusing the Lego website the other week when they announced all of these, and I was actually looking through some that I've never seen in stores. You know, because I'm not a creep who just hangs out in the toy aisle all day. But, sometimes, I'll just take a look at, what's out, especially if there's anything related to Donkey Kong. I have to keep on the prowl there, and I will look at the Lego stuff for Super Mario on occasion, and there's sets I've never even seen, like, oh, there's actually a Peach's Castle set, that looks cool. Oh, there's an airship. Okay, that's kind of neat. But yeah, most of them are just flat, lifeless obstacle courses, which Cameron pointed out in our Inner Circle chat on Discord, where of course, the Super Mario sets are just obstacle courses, and the Donkey Kong sets are lush environments. Go figure. But I don't have as much opinion on the whole. Like, I get why people would want the minifigures. You've adequately explained to me the appeal there that, yeah, I would just want a Mario minifigure. Yeah, I would just want a Donkey Kong minifigure so I could have them pal around with other great IPs from the late 20th century. I get that. I do. Not being a Lego guy by nature, I think it doesn't bug me as much, right? Like, I think there is this aversion that Nintendo would have towards having their brands in minifigure form, because they've released other sets with this deal with Nintendo outside of this Super Mario line that are still not minifigures. They released the NES set where you can like build an NES console with an old school TV and it's playing the original Super Mario Brothers on it, but not a minifigure set. And you've got the Super Mario 64 cube set where it's like this question mark block with Peach's castle popping out of it. And you've got little like peg representations of Mario and crew. Again, not minifigures. So I think they've just released this giant Bowser statue that you can build Bowser with Lego bricks. But again, not a minifigure. So yeah, I think they're purposely not doing that because that was the only way to get Nintendo on board. Because prior to all of this, there were Nintendo tie-ins with brick brands, but it wasn't Lego, it was K'NEX, the off-brand Lego. And I do have the Diddy Kong K'NEX figure still on my shelf here. It's cute, and it's the closest we'll probably ever come to having Diddy as a minifigure.
Yeah, well, and like I said, it's that element of it that they're not standardized to fit with other things. I want doorways and car cockpits and things that fit minifigures. But then it's just the fact that the thing that they did make, I don't think it looks very nice or is fun to play with. But I think that most Lego sets tend to fit into one of two molds. You're either making a vehicle or you're making a diorama of a scene, some kind of actual lived-in scene. And the Mario set doesn't really fit that description. At least the base sets or the main ones, they might have done more with them over time. But yeah, they just kind of do these linear, like, ugly obstacle course things that you take a toy and you can make it beep boop. And I don't need that. I don't need beep boops.
I love beep boops, personally.
Yeah, for like a minute. Yeah. How often are you going to beep the boop?
I mean, well, sometimes I beep the boop 2 to 3 times a day, but that's my own personal business.
It's good for your prostate.
It is. It's all about health. It's just... Anyway, so we have been living in this reality of Lego Super Mario since I think 2020. I think this is a pandemic product. But then on March 10th of this year, Mario Day, which, it's kind of off-brand diet May the 4th, we've got an announcement from Lego that there is going to be a Donkey Kong figure released into the Lego Super Mario line. And this is a couple weeks before the big Super Mario Brothers movie is announced, and everybody's talking about Donkey Kong in relation to Mario. And they just did this in this little reveal where they put the Lego Mario figure, the one that comes in a starter set and then has the sound effects and the little like light up chest with little icons displaying on the chest depending on the context sensitive, like Conquer, you see it all connects. But they put Lego Mario on Donkey Kong's back, and that was how they introduced this Lego Donkey Kong figure. Just Mario riding him around like he's a little horsey, which doesn't happen in the games. Mario's never ridden around on Donkey Kong's back. Diddy Kong has ridden around on Donkey Kong's back. Dixie, Cranky, even. Mario never. And it felt a little bit violating as a Donkey Kong fan. It's like, what's he doing? Get him off of him. This is wrong. But I don't know. I like the way this Donkey Kong figure looked, and it's not a minifigure, but it's still got more definition than the Mario figure does.
It looks a hell of a lot better than that godforsaken Mario figure.
Right. Which the Mario figure is basically a rectangle. Just a rectangle with a hat. And
with whittle arms.
Whittle arms, yeah. And at least Donkey Kong has got like nice thick arms, and he's got the tie, and they got a little approximation of that cowlick popping up. So, it looks pretty good. And our own David Thomas Lynch, DK Vine staffer, even brought up, well, hey, there is a tie-in app for Lego Super Mario. It's a free app you can download, but it ties it into the actual building process. And, well, by Mario Party E standards, would that not make this DKU? And I was like, whoa, let's, we'll deal with that when we get there, but maybe. So, interesting. I didn't hate it, so, let's just roll with it. I have bigger things to worry about right now, like the Super Mario Brothers movie opening just a couple of weeks. Well, then it was Wednesday of last week from when we're recording this. Lego on their social media accounts did this quick montage that was set to DK Island Swing, a new rendition of DK Island Swing that I've never heard. And it had Donkey Kong pop up, and then Cranky Kong popped up, Diddy Kong popped up, Dixie Kong popped up, and oh yeah, the man of the hour, Funky Kong, popped up. And I believe the tagline was, "There's a Kong in every kid." Which, maybe phrasing, but I get what they were going for. And I was like, wow, this is exciting. Because we thought we were just getting Donkey Kong, right? This little Donkey Kong tie-in within the Super Mario line, similar to the Yoshi you can get with Yoshi's House. And no, we are getting Cranky and Diddy and Dixie and Funky. We are getting the whole Tropical Freeze 5. And all of a sudden, what was kind of a minor news story became a major news story, especially for the Donkey Kong fandom. Jeff, what do you think of these figures?
Okay, so like I said, there's a principal conceptual problem that I have with the whole idea. But since these are kind of stuck in that mold that the Mario sets established,
yeah.
Given that, for being that kind of figure, these are all great.
Yeah.
I like them. I especially like the way they are and how they are.
Well said. Well, yeah, it makes me smile just seeing Funky in this brick form with that big stupid visor on his face. Cranky's got the little wrinkles around his eyes. I mean, they're simplistic. And of course they have to, adhere to this mold, this standard that's already been set. But as far as it goes, I mean, they're very recognizably the 4 Kongs. And I don't know. I'm glad they're there. I'm glad it's not just Donkey Kong. I thought it was just going to be Donkey Kong. And then all of a sudden, well, we have a whole Kong army coming to Lego Super Mario, which then raised the question, well, what is this actually looking like? It's not just going to be a new set. It's going to be multiple sets, maybe a whole line. Well, we didn't have to wait long to find out, because just 2 days later, Friday morning, Lego had the grand reveal of all 4 sets. And this was really frustrating the way they did this, Jeff, because I believe it was the Australian Lego set revealed one of the sets first. Just one. And it was like, oh my god, we have the first reveal. Okay, I have to start writing the news story quick. While I was in the process of writing the news story, then the US Lego account revealed everything. So I had to quickly change course and account for everything, which took another hour out of my day. And I'm just scrambling to get it done. But yeah, we got 4 new sets. And they're all, and this is the most important part. They are part of the Lego Super Mario line, but it's a sub-series within Lego Super Mario. It's got different box branding than any other Lego Super Mario set, because you've got the Lego Super Mario logo, and then you've got a unique style to it. You've got a unique cartoony jungle background, and then you've got on the right-hand side of the box this Donkey Kong branding that is completely separate from everything else in the line. Like, they've released Luigi's Mansion style sets, they've released Yoshi sets, but they don't have the individual unique look to them that keeps them separate. They're just part of Lego Super Mario. Yeah, here's Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, here's Yoshi. But Donkey Kong gets its own sort of thing, its own branding to set itself apart, which is important for those of us who are always weary of Donkey Kong just getting gobbled up by the Mario machine and not having its own presence. And I think this is clear that that's not going to be the case. That yes, they may be connected. Yes, they may be releasing this as part of Lego Super Mario, but it's still being held up as its own thing, as a special deal. Well, here's Donkey Kong toys in this line, but it's its own series, which is cool. I like to see it.
It says expand, which is always makes us laugh.
Yeah, I have to wonder if somebody knew what they were doing here, because I think this expand your starter course is fairly standard for all of these. But the way they did it, especially for this first set, they have Lego Donkey Kong just kind of smugly, it's not even grinning, but I can surmise there's a grin there. And right underneath it, it says expand your starter course. Somebody had to know the meme. Somebody had to know what they were doing here. And of course, people immediately cropped it, and it's all over now. It's just a continuation of the Donkey Kong erection joke that sprang to life from the Donkey Kong 64 box.
Which we love.
You know, at one point I would have fought against it, but I've been beaten down, and I fully embrace the expand meme, sure.
So are we going to talk about this first set, or do you want to go over all of them? Or?
No, let's talk about them set by set, step by step, because I feel like they all deserve their own due, and there's unique little bits to each one that are worth singling out. So the first one that was revealed by the Australian Lego set or site/store was Donkey Kong's Treehouse. Probably the most obvious low-hanging banana you could grab when making a Donkey Kong set. Like, when your mind goes, what would be a Lego Donkey Kong set, even outside of the Super Mario line? Of course, Donkey Kong's Treehouse would be top of the list. And this is actually his treehouse, his jungle hut from Donkey Kong Country Returns. That has kind of become the standardized look for Donkey Kong's treehouse in the last 13 years. It's what it's going to look like in the theme park. And the only thing is, it's his treehouse, but there's no banana horde cave. It's just the hut itself. And it feels a little bit wrong to not have it be, held up off the ground. I guess you can maybe build that with separate Lego bricks. I don't know how easily that would be doable given the nature of these sets, but
I was going to say, they've standardized the treehouse to be the one that is not in a tree.
Yeah. I know. I mean, granted, the one from the original Donkey Kong Country also wasn't in a tree. It was also just on a cave. I think the only one that was in a tree really was the one from Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah, fair enough. Actually, so you mentioned being able to build the, build the banana horde cave underneath on your own.
Yeah.
That would be easy to do if you. I say easy. I know that when I was a kid, I wasn't a millionaire, and so, like you said, that you mainly just had like the buckets of miscellaneous bricks, and that is also mostly what I had. And I will tell you that the color brown is not the common Lego color. You don't have a lot of brown, so I could make a really cool. I could take this set and expand on it and make a more accurate cave, but it would be made out of like rainbow. It would be lots of primary colors. It would be yellows and blues and reds, and maybe I can find enough green to be the trees. But it seemed to me like my Legos as a kid never had brown in it.
Well, we could just say Donkey Kong painted his banana horde cave for Pride Month, and
sure,
it's just still up there because removing the paint would be a pain in the ass. So,
but it got me thinking. Actually, was I was thinking about adding onto these sets with your own Legos and using these as pieces to create your own Donkey Kong scenes. And I was thinking, boy, if you had a minifigure, if they did do the minifigure, then you could make vehicles from Diddy Kong Racing, because that's the main thing I did as a kid. Is I had a bunch of wheels. Today I'm going to make a tricycle, but tomorrow I'm going to make a monster truck. Because I have all these wheels, and I would have made Diddy Kong Racing IRL, but no, can't.
No, you can't, especially because Rare and Microsoft own most of the Diddy Kong Racing IP, so Nintendo wouldn't want you doing that. That's why they've limited your possibilities here, Jeff.
Yeah, Phil Spencer would come over to my house and smash my Lego creations.
Personally, I always see Phil Spencer trending on social media, and you click and people saying bad things about him, and I'm like, this is why, Phil. You got to watch out. You got to let people have their fun with Lego. So,
can we talk about the elephant on the box, which is not Ellie, but it is the fact that Mario is here, but he looks like he just saved George's life, and now Lorraine is into him. And he's got to somehow get Lorraine back into George, or else he's going to disappear.
What? Wait, what?
It's a Back to the Future.
Oh, okay. I got it now.
Now Marty got hit by the car, and now he's messed up the timeline.
Right.
George was supposed to get hit by the car.
Right, and now his mom is hot for him, and it creates a paradox, and Marty's erasing his own birth. I got it. So, yeah, on all of these boxes, and this is just a standard operating procedure for all of these expansion sets in the Lego Super Mario line, they don't want kids to think you're getting the Mario figure with it. But they want you to display that it's interactable with that Mario or Luigi or Peach starter figure. So they basically create this ghostly effect for it. And they put, above it, Lego Mario is not included, but they want you to know this is what you can do if you do have Lego Mario, and you should get that first before you get this expansion set. So they have little ghostly images of Lego Mario having the fun he would have were you to own him and have this expansion set. But yeah, it creates this weird sort of haunting imagery where it looks like the Kongs are reminiscing or remembering their long-departed frenemy, Mario. Oh, remember when he was on the bongos? Oh, remember when he was riding in my minecart before the accident?
It's like they communicated to the spirit of Mario through a Ouija, but then at the end of their session, they forgot to say goodbye, and now the spirit's in the house, and they didn't disconnect the call, really, how that goes with a Ouija, and Mario's not going away.
When I was a kid, I'm pretty sure I've shared this before on DK Vine. I used to call this the mass-produced spirit boards you could buy Luigi boards. So I'm amazed they haven't introduced that in Luigi's Mansion yet, because I feel like that would just be a natural thing. Bring out the Luigi board and commune with the spirits to better bust them.
I think the only company more litigious than Phil Spencer at Microsoft would probably be Hasbro. Hasbro does own the Ouija board license, a trademark or whatever. So
yeah.
But hey, maybe they'll make some Lego Ouija boards, and you can move your Mario around.
There you go. They've recently, because I went down a Lego rabbit hole the other week, when all this was announced. By the way, if you fall down any rabbit hole, the Lego rabbit hole hurts the worst when you're going down it. But they've got Lego everything now. You've got sets where you can you can build a Lego Vespa scooter. Because why not? Why not? I thought Funko Pop was bad about all the tie-ins, but Lego, I think, has them beat at this point.
Yeah, but at least Lego is an activity along with a collectible.
Yeah.
Because you have to construct it.
Yeah. And I get that. Like, I understand the appeal of Lego. Lego was never for me prior to this. You get Donkey Kong in there, and then sure, whatever. I'm Mr. Lego all of a sudden. But it's like SpongeBob. I just narrowly skirted that Lego renaissance, right, of the late 90s. So I feel like I missed out, and this is me reclaiming a lost part of my youth.
In your defense, you're like an English major, right?
Yeah.
I was an engineer, so, you were like, oh, you can make a house and it looks like shit? I hate this. And I was like making functional robots.
Right, yeah.
And, crane systems with pulleys. Which is to say that I think that everyone has toys that appeal to them, and this is a toy that really appealed to my brain. But yeah,
I like toys where I could tell stories immediately, and I think I didn't want to do the work to get there. So, yeah, but this Donkey Kong's Treehouse set, it's really cool because it's got a lot of little things you can engage with. By the way, it comes with Cranky Kong as well. It's Donkey Kong and Cranky Kong comes bundled in this, and it's actually mid-priced. It's $59.99, which is a little bit less than the actual starter set with Mario. Yeah, I feel like you get a lot more bang for your buck with this. It doesn't have as many like figures within, but it just looks a lot cooler. And you got palm trees around Donkey Kong's treehouse. You've got the hammock outside, which is, it's usually inside, but I guess it's a nice day. He just wants to chill out outside. He moves the hammock outside, whatever. But there's also a funny image on the back of the box, Jeff, and I shared this on social media, of Cranky laying in the hammock and Donkey holding a banana over him. And it looks like Donkey Kong's performing last rites on Cranky Kong, who has perished or is on his deathbed. Anyway, it made me laugh. But one of the things you know what? Let me just read the official write-up from the good folk at Lego. From the good Danish folk at Lego. Shall I read it?
You shall.
All right. Children can build a colorful jungle level and role-play stories with the Lego Super Mario Donkey Kong's Treehouse expansion set. The Treehouse is packed with authentic details to delight Donkey Kong fans, including a buildable TV, radio, and a secret compartment. What do you think Donkey Kong keeps in the secret compartment, Jeff?
Bananas.
Yeah, it's bananas. I was going to say fleshlight, but it's probably just bananas. I keep a fleshlight in my secret compartment, but kids can use their Lego. You gotta look. It's just good health practice, all right? I don't want people judging me for it. I don't care what people think of me. I have a dynamite prostate. Kids can use their Lego Mario, Lego Luigi, or Lego Peach figures, not included, to ride on Donkey Kong's back, nap in the hammock, knock a banana off the palm tree and give it to Donkey Kong, play the conga drums, visit Cranky Kong, and more to earn digital coin rewards. A top gift idea for kids aged 8 and up, and anyone who loves Donkey Kong. This modular set combines with other Lego Super Mario toy playsets to create unlimited unique levels. And then we got some bullet points, Jeff. And I think the bullet points are just so exciting that I have to read them too.
Before we hit the bullet points, I just wanted to point out how when they said play the conga drums, they put the word play in quotation.
Right. You can't actually play, a Smash Mouth's All-Star like you can in the video games.
There's no Good Charlotte, no Mr. Boombastic, none of it.
None of it is here. None of your favorites. They couldn't get the rights. This set would be a lot more expensive if it had the best from the Konga games, or even Donkey Konga 3, Japan only. It's just a representation, and I'm sure it's just like boom, 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 and that's it. And then Mario's happy that he beat on the DK bongos. But I like that the DK bongos are there, Jeff. I like that there's that little nod to Donkey Kong's past. That, yes, it's basically a Returns playset, but there's a little bit extra in there for the hardcore aficionado. Hey kid, what's your favorite vintage Donkey Kong game? Oh, probably Donkey Konga 2. That's right, here you go.
Well, at this point, you can't escape from bongos just being part of Donkey Kong's character. He even had them in Donkey Kong 64 all the way back.
All the way
Plus,
back.
In his Super Smash Brothers move in his Final Smash before they changed it.
Yeah. Which we didn't like back then, but I'm fine with now. It's part of the tapestry of the history. I'm fine. I love that it's there, honestly. Unironically, I love that it's there. All right, the bullet points. Join the DK crew at Donkey Kong's Treehouse. Kids team up with Donkey Kong in the jungle for banana gifting, Congo drum playing fun with this colorful Lego Super Mario expansion set. 2 Lego Super Mario figures from the Donkey Kong world. There we go. Donkey Kong and Cranky Kong. Authentic details. Explore the treehouse with its buildable TV, radio, and secret compartment. Nap in the hammock, knock a banana off the palm tree, play the conga drums, and more. Friendship play. Ride on Donkey Kong's back with Lego Mario, Lego Luigi, or Lego Peach. Figures not included. Give Donkey Kong a banana and visit Cranky Kong several times to gain a reward. So it makes me wonder, if you just visit Cranky once, is he just going to give you tips from the first world and nothing but? You have to keep visiting him to get the good stuff?
I just hope he swears.
Yeah, well, especially if it's Mario, I can't imagine he's happy that Mario is visiting Donkey Kong's treehouse, especially when he's already there. He thought he was going to have a father-son day, and then, this shithead shows up. I don't know. Could be spicy. Anyway.
Sorry. Choking on my sun-kissed orange soda.
Oh, you love orange soda, and, friend of the show, Kenan Thompson's friend, Kel Mitchell, loves orange soda. Coincidence?
Any friend of my friend is that a phrase? Is my friend?
It is now.
But it's true.
Anything can be a phrase if you say it enough.
Yeah, we're going to start that one up.
I'm a trendsetter. Look, we're just, we're defying society's expectations here. Because we're talking about children toys for 8-year-olds. And, some people might scowl at us, might disdainfully scorn our way because we're adult and we're supposed to be into stuff like barbecue and fishing and farting, whatever adults like to do. And they're like, why are you doing this kid stuff? That's creepy. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of playing by society's rules, man. I just want to live a life that brings me happiness. And if playing with Lego Super Mario Donkey Kong expansion sets brings me happiness, well then, you know what? That's a life well lived.
Well said.
Yeah. So, a life well lived is also a life in the poorhouse, because Diddy Kong's Minecart ride is the priciest set of the bunch. It's $109.99.
Yeah, if you need to choose between buying this and like buying food, you should give up on food for a while, because this is worth it. This one is, as the kids are saying back in 2012, epic.
I think now the kids would say that this is no cap, for real, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm behind. I'm still thinking that they say it's lit and it's straight fire, but I think that's about 5-8 years old already.
Yeah. So next time you come after me for my dated references about Michael Vick, maybe you should keep in mind that I know the lingo of the little ones today. That's creepy. So Diddy Kong's Minecart ride is, I can't even conceive how huge this is. This is 1,157 pieces. So components, I guess they count the figures as a piece, but you've got Diddy Kong in there. You've got Funky Kong in there. It's not just Funky. Funky comes with the damn flying by. His airplane from Tropical Freeze is there, and it's got all these little details in there. If you look closely, you can see the balloons, the red, green, and blue balloons. They've got the little toy capsule machine from Tropical Freeze is in there. Does not include Tox, however, which I feel like is a missed opportunity, but given that they had to kind of miniaturize this a little bit, it's not actually to scale. I don't think they could have actually fit Tox in there, especially with the set we're going to talk about after this. Just wouldn't be comparable, so they just had to say, you know what, Tox is at home today. Tox isn't here. Sorry. But yeah, this is a whole minecart sequence, a whole minecart set with Diddy as kind of the star of the show. And you've even got two enemies from the retro Donkey Kong Country games. You've got a mole miner in there to, cause trouble, wreak havoc. And you've got a Snaggles the Shark. The sharks that jump out at you in both Returns and Tropical Freeze. Tropical Freeze is where you mostly associate them when it comes to minecarts, because they would jump out at you in that World 4 minecart stage. But, Jeff, what do you think about this set?
Well, in terms of like the scope and I mean, it's awesome. Like it's just having a Lego set of a minecart level is cool. And again, the same as I feel the same way with the previous set we discussed, is these do feel more like little dioramas or little vignettes of actual parts of Donkey Kong's world, and not just weird little obstacle courses. And which is what I want out of a Lego set, is just a little diorama of a scene. This feels like a scene. And the fact that all the enemies and all the references are out of Retro's games is to be expected at this point, until a new game comes out to redefine like the standard. This is the standard of what is Donkey Kong right now, and is influencing things like the theme park and the Lego sets. So these are cool characters for them to have chosen to be in there, like, the mole miner, the snaggle, the shark. I don't know. I think it's a cool set, and I like that it is the Diddy set. Like, I don't know why, but something about Diddy Kong being the star of the minecart set just feels right.
It's because he's Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Yeah. I mean, that's basically it. But yeah, I saw some hand-wringing, as you would expect online from people who were like, why is it not a Chomps? Why is it a Snaggles? We don't like Snaggles as much as we do Chomps. And I'm like, well, Chomps has no association with minecart stages. If there was an underwater coral stage, then yeah, maybe you could make that argument. But as you said, they're going to pull from the two most recent Donkey Kong games, which kind of set the template, the visual standard for what Donkey Kong is going forward. And this is commonplace. In the Lego Super Mario sets, they all kind of are derived from more recent games. There isn't really too much in the way of retro throwbacks there. And when they do a retro throwback set like the Super Mario 64 set, it's independent of the line itself. It's fine. Like, yes, K. Rool was brought back in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but that's not a Donkey Kong game. There's no set standard yet for what K. Rool will look like in the modern context for Donkey Kong. So, you know what? And I do like a lot of these characters from Returns and Tropical Freeze. I'm happy to see a mole miner there. I was like, oh my god, it's a mole miner. That's cool. That's a fun little nod to something, because we rarely get this for Donkey Kong. This is something I complained about a while back ago. I've seen all of this stuff released for Mario, and there are Mario plushes and figures for nearly every enemy imaginable, but they're all from the new Super Mario Brothers games. And Donkey Kong, we've never really gotten that consistency, at least here in the West. Japan, they got a lot of stuff at the height of Donkey Kong Country Mania. We never really got that here. And so you never really see the enemies of Donkey Kong referenced all that much, especially in merchandise. So even though it's just a mole miner, even though it's just the Snaggles, I'm pretty happy with that. I want there to be baseline consistency for Donkey Kong going forward, and not having to reinvent the brand with every new game. So I like that the vibes we're getting is, yes, Donkey Kong is not in development at Retro Studios at this time, but Retro will still have an influence on what Donkey Kong is and looks like going forward. Partially out of necessity, because they had all of this stuff like the theme park in development when Tropical Freeze was the newest game. So it is what it is.
Plus, I always like to think of the mole miners from Returns as just being inspired by Hard Hat from Donkey Kong Land. So yeah, it's just a continuation, really.
It's not that much of a leap to make, considering Retro did play Donkey Kong Land in the research period for Donkey Kong Country Returns. So I'm sure they saw Hard Hat, and that stuck with them when they made the mole miners.
All right, why don't you read the blurb?
You want me to read the blurb? Do you want to read the blurb?
Take turns reading blurbs.
This seems like the set you're most excited about, Jeff, and I wouldn't want to deprive you of the blurbing.
All right, let me blurb this one.
All right, blurb it up, baby.
Create an iconic Donkey Kong level in the brick-built Lego Super Mario universe with this Diddy Kong's Minecart Ride expansion set for kids. Place a Lego Mario, Lego Luigi, or Lego Peach figure, not included, in the minecart to ride around the track. Flip the Snaggles out of the way, fix the broken section of track, defeat the mole miner, and explode the rock to reveal a bunch of bananas to eat or gift to Funky Kong or Diddy Kong. Buy balloons from the airplane shop and fly the plane to earn more digital coins. Once again, every verb they just put in like quotes to not make you think you can really fly.
Yes. Also,
exploding rocks, apparently just part of minecart levels.
Yeah.
Once again, there are bullet points. It's a super gift idea for kids aged 8 and up, and anyone who loves Donkey Kong. This modular set can be rearranged and mixed with other Lego Super Mario toy playsets to create unique levels. Diddy Kong's Minecart Ride expansion set. Recreate minecart riding, airplane flying, rock exploding Donkey Kong minecart challenges with this Lego Super Mario set for kids. 4 Lego Super Mario figures from the Donkey Kong world. Funky Kong and Diddy Kong, plus a Snaggles to flip out of the way, and a mole miner to defeat. Fun challenges. Ride the minecart with Lego Mario, Lego Luigi, or Lego Peach, figures not included, around the track and explode the rock to reveal a bunch of bananas to eat. Buildable Funky Kong's airplane/shop. The airplane has 2 action tags to activate special reactions in an interactive figure, not included. 1 when buying balloons and 1 when flying the plane.
I have to say, normally I don't like these dry bullet points that try to sell you on a product, but there's just something about the way Lego talks about Donkey Kong stuff that's very satisfying to me. I don't know. It's almost like a kink of mine having these big respected brands have to speak our nonsense. I'm like, yeah, that's right. You put those words in your mouth, you naughty toy company. Is that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say what I've always loved about Donkey Kong minecart levels is the minecart riding, airplane flying, and rock exploding.
Yeah, obviously it's harkening back to the more bombastic set pieces of Retro's games, where, yeah, there's always shit blowing up and crumbling around you. But rock exploding, if you were just hearing this, if you weren't seeing it actually written out, it would come to mind, like, what do you have against Dwayne Johnson? Why is he being so violently assaulted in these minecart sequences?
I'm looking at the picture, and now I get it, what they mean. Because I didn't get it before. I was like, what do you mean rock exploding? But it's just it's the part in Tropical Freeze in the minecart where, or I guess it might be Returns, the mole miners, as the cart is going over tripwires, it is dynamiting like stalagmites and stuff that are then falling.
Ah, yeah.
So that is rock exploding, and that is kind of in the figure here, because the mole miner's standing next to a plunger of a dynamite thing next to a rock. So now I get it. But before I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean rock exploding?
I have to say it's weird that they keep emphasizing eating the bananas you get, because this isn't Diddy Kong eating the bananas. Even though this is Diddy Kong's minecart ride, it's Mario, Luigi, or Peach eating bananas. And have you ever seen the three of them gobbling bananas up?
It's interesting that the phraseology they keep coming back to is that you could eat them or gift them back to the Kongs.
Right.
I love that choice of verb, gift.
Gift it to Funky Kong, right. I don't know, I don't like really understand what the flying by actually does here, except you're done with the minecart, you're going to go over to see Funky. I think it's like a recreation of, I'm done with this level, now and here's Funky's flying by, I'm going to restock at Funky's flying by. Maybe that's just the whole thing, like they wanted to get that in there, and this is the most expensive set, and it's the most kinetic set. It's the one that's really an action-packed Donkey Kong style level, rather than just the treehouse and what we're going to talk about next. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
Luckily, you don't have that talk to Funky Kong several times thing that they did with Cranky Kong.
Yeah. Because
we know what Funky Kong says.
Right. Especially if you have Lego Peach. You want to keep that short and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really, really love this. And, you might bulk the price, but this is definitely a day one purchase for me. I mean, all four are day one purchases for me. I'm going to have to get all of them because I am, editor-in-chief of DK Vine. I really have no choice in the matter. But this is going to be the one I think I'm going to be the most excited to dive into. That's not true. That's actually not true. This is probably the one I'm going to be third most excited to dive into, but I think this is the one that will have the most consistent draw for me, like, going forward. I'm not as excited about this as I am two of the other ones, but this is still pretty cool, and I think it'll be the most fun to see. You said it's not really interesting to see the beep boops with Mario and what have you, but I'm intrigued the most by what you can do with the Mario or Luigi or Peach in this one. How does Mario engage with a Donkey Kong minecart stage? We've never seen it before. Now we'll have a clue. We'll really know what goes inside Mario's head in this terrifying scenario that he's not accustomed to.
Yeah, I have $110 in my bank account, but if I did, sure, maybe I'd buy this.
You're not a millionaire, is what you're trying to say.
Not a millionaire. I can't even get my dental stuff finished. So Lego is low on the priority.
I've been wearing contact lenses that are a year and a half old, Jeff. I'm not a millionaire either.
I reused the bag that the McDonald's comes in.
You know what? But it's fine. You know what? You know why it's fine? Because I'm an outcast. I'm a societal outcast. I'm a grown man who's going to play with Lego, and it's going to bring me enrichment and joy. And it's fine. I don't need to see to have joy. I can feel these bricks. Do you remember the episode of Happy Days where the Fonz was temporarily blinded, but he still could figure out how to put his motorcycle back together? It was a teachable moment.
Yeah, let's say I do.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be me come August when I'm still wearing contacts that are out of date. It's fine. It's fine. I don't need eye care. I don't need dental care. Not when I've got the next set we're going to talk about, Dixie Kong's Jungle Jam. And this one, you don't have to be a millionaire to afford it. You can get it for a cool $26.99. That's right. Drinks are on me tonight. Jeff, this is surprising. I think out of all the sets, I could have guessed the Treehouse set, and the Minecart, I might not have guessed it, but it wasn't surprising after the fact. This one I would have never seen coming. This one seems the most original, but yet true to the spirit of the character involved.
I agree, and I think that, so we'll describe it in a second, but
yeah.
It's once you've gotten past Treehouse and Minecart, if your plan is you still want to introduce more characters, but you don't know what scene to put them in, I really don't know what a better one to do than this, which is a pretty original set piece. I can't think of a better setting, unless they had put Dixie like in the Treehouse set and then did a whole Cranky's Cabin set, maybe. That might have made sense, but anyway, there's not. They're running out of the obvious sets to do. So this is cool. This is Dixie Kong's Jungle Jam.
Yeah,
and what it basically is like a performance stage, a musical stage.
Yeah, in the jungle, and you've got what I really like. The little detail I really like about this. Well, there's a detail I love about this, but just aesthetically speaking, you've got the hanging lanterns above the stage, and they're strung up across two palm trees. And it's just a nice little touch. It's very evocative. You can imagine what this would look like, in the Congo jungle. And two things are very surprising about this. One, it comes with Squawks. Squawks is there. And it's a really, I think, clever usage of Squawks the parrot, because you've got this, musical stage and Dixie's on guitar, and presumably, Mario, Luigi, or Peach can come in and also be on guitar, jam with Dixie Kong. But Squawks is at the microphone. Squawks is the lead vocalist of this sort of makeshift jungle band. And that's really clever, because what animal buddy can talk? What animal buddy can parrot back your words? It's Squawks. So it talks can too, and presumably Quawks. But my point is, it's a funny little visual gag, because it's just a parrot at a microphone. What is Squawks going to be singing? And so it's actually, I don't know, I feel like it's that little bit of Donkey Kong style humor that is actually apparent in this tie-in merchandise line. It's a joke from the games that you would expect to see, but it hasn't really been done in the games. And that's why I really like it.
Well, before we talk about the other cool Easter egg, we'll say it just kind of occurred to me, It seems surprising or unexpected that they would do a musical stage, because that seems like a very original idea for Donkey Kong. It's not like an obvious set piece from Donkey Kong. But also, in hindsight, maybe it's not that surprising, considering the whole crux of this line is the beep boop machine.
Right.
The Donkey Kong Country games are known for their music. So, like, if you're going to have a Mario set, if you're going to have a Mario figure that when you touch it to the different spots, it makes musical sound effects, it kind of makes sense to set up a musical stage as like a set piece. And I wonder if it will have, just a little string of music from Donkey Kong games. We see some other little instruments in there. I don't remember what these little drum things are called. I've seen this kind of instrument before. I don't know what it's called.
I think they're referred to as bongos in the blurb.
Oh, yeah, and we're about to read the blurb. But before we read it, do you want to talk about the the thing.
Yeah, so I mentioned that Dixie's on lead guitar, and the guitar she's got in her hand is a blue one. And a lot of people pointed out how closely it resembled the guitar she whips out, the electric guitar she whips out in Donkey Kong Country 2 whenever she lands from a great height on the end of level target and gets the prize. She pulls out the guitar and she jams on it. And this is a blue guitar. It doesn't have the white accents that it does in DKC2, but this is just molded plastic. You know, it's pretty obvious they're not going to like paint it or anything. But it's shaped pretty much the same. And I was like, yeah, you know, looking closely, that's clearly her guitar from Donkey Kong Country 2. Because she also plays a guitar at the end of Tropical Freeze, which is more like banana shaped, right? Which you thought they would have gone with. But so I was like, yeah, you know what? I can confidently say this is her guitar from Donkey Kong Country 2. I didn't have any confirmation, but I went to social media and I said, one wonderful detail of Lego Group's Dixie Kong's Jungle Jam set, she's actually using her Donkey Kong Country 2 guitar. It's always nice to see the Rare era get referenced. And then I did point out she is in the actual promo pic and on the box playing it with her wrong hand, because in Donkey Kong Country 2, she's left-handed. She plays her guitar left-handed. Tropical Freeze screwed it up by having her play it with her right hand. But, you know, she can go back and forth. We'll just say Tropical Freeze established that she's capable of both. She's, you know, she's the monkey. She doesn't have a dominant hand. Both of her hands work just as well. So, yeah, I put that on the Elon Musk machine, and not long after, Lego replied and said, "Good eye. We know the fans go bananas for the fine details." And I did go bananas for that, so they weren't wrong.
Gotta love those Danes.
I was pleased to get that confirmation, because, you know, I could see people already arguing that, oh, this isn't actually a DKC2 reference. This is probably just a mold of a guitar Lego already had, and they just stuck it in their hand. It's just a coincidence. And then Lego said, no, we meant to do that, you fucks. They didn't say that because they're very polite. But it's a Donkey Kong Country 2 reference. So in all of this consternation of, oh, they only reference the retro era, they only reference the last two full Donkey Kong games. Well, we have the DK bongos in Donkey Kong's Treehouse, and we have Dixie's Donkey Kong Country 2 guitar. And there's also a red version of it that comes with the set that I believe, you know, Mario or whoever can play. But I like to think that that's the matching guitar she bought for Diddy. And yeah, Diddy has a different guitar in Donkey Kong 64, but that's one he got from Candy, specifically to send out violent shockwaves and knock out baddies. This is just his casual guitar that he uses with Dixie. And now Mario's borrowing it, or, you know, whatever, so it's fine. But here's what the official write-up says. Oh yeah. Children can venture into the jungle home of Donkey Kong for musical fun with this Lego Super Mario Dixie Kong's Jungle Jam expansion set. It features Dixie Kong and Squawks figures, a buildable stage, jungle scenery, and musical instruments and equipment. Place Lego Mario, Lego Luigi, or Lego Peach, figures not included, center stage, and turn them to make the connected stage platforms rotate, activating musical sounds. So yeah, you know, you suggested that maybe we'll hear little brief snippets of Donkey Kong Country music, and that would be really cool. Like, I doubt it. I doubt they're going to actually have little snippets of David Wise or Evelyn Novakovic or Grant Kirkhope or Graham Norgate even. We're not going to get any Donkey Kong Land melodies in there. But fingers crossed, you never know. It would be really cool to get the little dun 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 dun. Dixie's little guitar tune from Donkey Kong Country 2. That would be fun if they would actually get that in there. They probably won't, but it's fine.
Good Charlotte.
Good Charlotte, yeah. This collectible playset makes a super gift toy for creative kids aged 7 and up who love music and animals. And adults with nostalgic memories of Donkey Kong will love it too. So don't worry, Jeff. We're covered. This and the many other LEGO Super Mario expansion sets allow fans to expand, rebuild, and create their own levels for hours of coin collecting play. Hours. Here are the bullet points. Set the stage for musical fun. Kids can visit the jungle home of Donkey Kong with this LEGO Super Mario Dixie Kong's Jungle Jam expansion set and enjoy a musical adventure. 2 LEGO Super Mario characters from the jungle home of Donkey Kong. Dixie Kong with a guitar element and Squawks the Parrot with a buildable microphone, plus buildable bongos and an amplifier. Rotating stage platforms. Place LEGO Mario, LEGO Luigi, or LEGO Peach, figures not included, center stage and turn them to make the connected stage platforms rotate, activating musical sounds. Social play. There is space on a stage for a second interactive figure. The set also includes jungle scenery, including 2 buildable palm trees, lighting, and flower elements. Flower elements are my favorite part of any concert.
Yes, flower elements, guitar elements. You got to have it all.
The Fifth Element was a movie.
We like that.
So yeah, this is actually the one. This is actually the set I kind of liked the most. I mean, it's more bare bones because it is a relatively cheap set, $26 for toys nowadays. That's pretty cheap, Jeff. I don't know if you've checked the price of toys lately or the price of eggs, but inflation.
Yeah, I usually just play with like a rock.
Yeah.
Stick. Dead human at the railroad track.
Right. It's a great bonding experience, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Dixie Kong's Jungle Jam. I love that Dixie has her own set. Like, she wasn't just lumped in like Cranky and Funky are. It's like, here's Dixie Kong. Bye.
Yeah, and it worked because in both of the other sets, like, it seems like Cranky Kong or Funky Kong are like a side character that you can visit, which is what they are in the games.
I thought you were going to say a side piece for a second there. And I was like, oh yeah, Mario's famous side piece, Cranky Kong.
But the main thing is Donkey Kong is doing something, and then he could go visit Cranky Kong. Or Diddy Kong is doing something, and he could go visit Funky Kong. And that's kind of how the games work, because you have your playable Kongs, and then you have your helper family Kongs. So Dixie Kong being the star of a set is very cool. And yeah, it's got this gear rotate system. It's going to play us Ditties or whatever. So it's going to be cool.
Bingo, Dustin's favorite Donkey Kong song.
Yeah, it's not shit.
Well, Jeff, that takes us to our final set. And to call this a set, I think, is charitable at best. Because it's mostly just a figure with a couple of lumps that you can knock over. But it's still surprising. That's the operative word today. Surprising. Because I was surprised to see it. Because we got those reveals of the Kong figures. And you're thinking, oh, we're going to get 5 Kongs. Nobody ever said anything about animal buddies. Which is why Squawks was a delight. But here, by himself, it's Rambi the Rhino for $10.99, which seems pretty cheap, because when you actually factor in how much rhino horn goes for on the black market, it's not $10.99, that's for sure. All these rhinos wouldn't be getting massacred if that's all it went for.
Yeah, they're like the eggs of the black market poaching world.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rambi the Rhino set is cool. I like the way Rambi is. It's interesting because I don't usually like these rounded. What do you call them? They're like these pieces, these bricks that have rounded flat tops on them that they use all over the bodies here to make them kind of smoothed. I don't usually like those pieces. Sometimes they're a necessary evil, like if you want to build a spaceship. But I think it works here. It looks good. The whole thing, I like his little ears.
Oh, I just noticed his little ears. Thanks for pointing those out.
Yeah, he's got little ears, like little frying pan ears. I like them a lot. His toes, he's got great toes, and then he's got like this great sort of the way that his back is that lets characters ride on him. My thing is, I'm curious if the Kongs can actually sit on these things, or if it's just the like Mario figures.
I would imagine you could probably put the Kongs on any platform that's designed for a figure to stand on. But yes, this is actually designed for the starter characters to ride on. And on the box, we've got the little ghostly visage of Mario riding on Rambi, which, it feels wrong. It feels wrong. I saw somebody compare it to seeing like your parents split up and then seeing your dad date somebody new. That's what it looks like, having Mario ride on Rambi's back. It just feels wrong.
It's a little bit like Donkey Kong picking up a Fire Flower power-up.
Yeah. I know this will delight some people who just want to see the franchises wedged together. Damn the consequences. It feels wrong, especially when you factor in the classic Rambi trophy description from Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. I know we were all thinking this when we saw this, because the trophy description there, and I quote, said, "A longtime and trustworthy animal friend. Even the king of the jungle, the lion, fears Rambi's might. Mario would love a lift from Rambi, but he is all Donkey Kong's." And that's not true anymore. Mario finally got his wish. Mario finally saddles up on Rambi. And how does Yoshi feel about this? I don't know.
I didn't care, but now I'm convinced it's wrong.
It's a scandal. It's a scandal waiting to happen across Donkey Kong Island to Yoshi's Island. People are going to be talking. People are going to be gossiping when they see Mario riding on Rambi's back.
It feels sick right now.
Yeah. Jeff, why don't you read the official write-up? Swallow that vomit.
I'll read this blurb. Here's the blurb. Get set for LEGO Super Mario Adventures with the Rambi the Rhino expansion set for kids age 7 and up. It features a brick-built LEGO toy figure of Rambi that interactive LEGO Mario, LEGO Luigi, or LEGO Peach figures, not included, can ride on. When Rambi walks, charges into the included stackable rock elements, and makes other movements, sound effects are activated in the interactive figure. Stomping, rock smashing fun. Level up with the LEGO Super Mario Rambi the Rhino expansion set, featuring a brick-built Rambi figure and rock elements. Ride on Rambi. Sit LEGO Mario, LEGO Luigi, or LEGO Peach, figures not included, on Rambi, then make the Rhino walk or smash into objects to activate digital reactions in the interactive figure. Stackable rocks. Charge into the rocks with Rambi to topple them and reveal a hidden banana element.
Yeah. Rambi can knock over rocks. And that's basically what you do with Rambi.
This just kind of makes me think why they don't have Donkey Kong as one of these starter figures that make the sounds. Why you have Mario, Luigi, and Peach, why not make a Donkey Kong? If you're going to make a whole line of Donkey Kong sets, why did not do this?
Well, yeah, and that's I think it was kind of obscured up until we got to Rambi, because then it starts getting frustrating when you see Mario or the idea of Luigi or Peach riding around on Rambi the Rhino, and you're like, well, hold up, you're doing this whole unique Donkey Kong branding for these expansion sets. It's getting this whole rollout separate from the other expansion sets in this line, why isn't there just a fourth starter figure with a Donkey Kong starter course that can be independent of his treehouse or whatever? Just be jungle hijinks or whatever, like, stupid thing you want to put with him. Why not do that and have Donkey Kong be a full Lego Super Mario character that you could then take back into some of the older sets for the Super Mario line? It's odd how Donkey Kong has been reduced to Yoshi's role. Even seeing Mario ride on his back, that's not a thing. That's not something they do together. Like, what is this? What is this? And I was wondering this, and I think it probably has to do with the shape. Because Donkey Kong, you look at his model in Lego Super Mario, it's far more stocky. He's got those big burly arms. And Lego Mario, Luigi, and Peach all have very similar proportions in their build. It's just a rectangle that kind of sucks, right? It's not defined. And maybe they thought we can't do Donkey Kong justice in this shape, so we're not going to try.
Which makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's also disappointing because, yeah, it feels like if you're going to the trouble of doing all of this, even having different boxes and different branding for these sets, why not just have a character that you could just use with these sets? So if you were just into Donkey Kong, as a lot of these sets are purporting people to be, and as we are proof positive that they exist, why not just make it so you only ever need these sets and the connection to the Lego Super Mario line is optional? It's minor. It's a minor point because these sets are still cool, and it will be fun to see Mario or Luigi or Peach interacting with these, up until now, exclusive Donkey Kong elements. Like, for all the people thirsting to see for all the people thirsting to see Mario and Donkey Kong's worlds intertwine, this might be a good compromise. This might be a good way to do it without sullying the games themselves. Okay, here, you can have your own fun. You can make your own fun. Here's Donkey Kong with a fire flower, whatever. Just here you go. Make it true in Lego. We're not going to bring this shit into Donkey Kong Country. So, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think the whole thing, it really just comes down to them being pigeonholed by the system they set up for Super Mario. Mm-hmm. And once they're like, okay, we're going to do Donkey Kong, but like, we're trapped by all these decisions we've already made, that it's got to work this way and it's got to be this shape and size. So now it's a little bit non-ideal because the Super Mario beep boop style sucks. But at least what they've done for these, and again, you don't have to buy any Mario stuff to mix with this. You won't get the beep boops, but if you just want these scenes that you can recreate in Lego, these dioramas of little parts of Donkey Kong's world with Donkey Kong characters in it, you could just buy them. You can ignore the Mario element of it.
Yeah.
Just won't get the beep boops.
But it does raise the question, if you do want some beep boops in your life, will you be getting a starter set? Which one will you be getting? Or will you be getting all three?
I'm not going to get any sets because I can't afford them. But if I bought all these Donkey Kongs, but I really wanted to get the beep boop, I don't know what starter sets are on the market, but I feel like the one that I would most want, I think, would be Luigi. I think it would just be funny if I have all Donkey Kong stuff, plus I've got a little Luigi in there.
Yeah.
That's pretty silly.
That is quite the silly. I am not going to be getting any of the other Lego Super Mario stuff. So I'm not going to get Peach's Castle. I'm not going to be chasing Birdos in the blind packages. I have bought one starter set already because I wanted to be ready and I didn't want to put this financial burden off till August 1st when I have to buy $200 worth of Lego product. I was like, well, this is probably more financially prudent to get it now. So I went ahead and I got the Mario starter set. I've got it right here. Let me bend over and get it. So yeah, I went ahead and bought it, and I got it's actually the name of the set is called Adventures with Mario. Ooh, what adventures will we have? And yeah, it's a weird shaped box. It's like those Happy Meal boxes you used to get?
Yeah, like the ones that are shaped kind of like a house.
Yeah, it feels like that, except longer and thicker. But it's got like a little handle I can grab onto it. And yeah, it comes with Bowser Jr. and it comes with a Goomba. Oh boy. And it comes with just a bland little obstacle course. But I can connect this and Mario can go through the warp pipe or whatever and go to the Congo jungle. So yeah, I got Mario because I thought, as funny as it would be to have Luigi there, or as novel as it would be to have Peach, dirtying up her royal dress by going into the jungle. Mario has the most history with some of these characters, especially Cranky Kong, and I want to see Mario and Cranky a fussing and a feuding. So I went ahead and got it. I'm not going to open it because I've no use for this right now. It's just going to take up room, but I am ready for August 1st, which is when all of these sets come out. Do I feel like a target by capitalistic enterprises preying on my obsessions and obsessive need to complete these gaping holes in my Donkey Kong fandom? Yes, I feel preyed upon, but it's fine. It's what I signed up for. Yeah, this is not an enviable life. I don't want people trying to follow in my footsteps. I'm an example of what not to do.
I like being preyed upon because the alternative is that there's no Donkey Kong Lego or Monster Truck or Theme Park World or whatever.
That's true.
So prey upon me.
So we do have many calls to take on this episode.
Ugh. I mean, I love to hear from the people, and I can't wait to answer their questions.
That's probably the better response than ugh.
I think it was going to get picked up by the mic.
I want to really quickly give a shout out to those in the live stream, because we do live stream every episode of the Kongversation for $5 and up patrons. Hello to Jebaha and Cotbox. Cotbox says, I missed the Johnny Thunder Lego sets.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was even real.
Oh, I'm going to assume it was, because I haven't known Cotbox to lie.
Yeah.
They're not a box of lies.
They've had every other kind of Lego. Why not?
Why not? So, the first two calls are from the same caller, and they actually predate Lego Super Mario Donkey Kong expansion sets a little bit. But the topic actually intersects with what we're discussing. So, why don't we go ahead and play them back to back, and then we'll weigh in with our own thoughts.
Hey, this is Jennifer again. Again, listening through your backlog, loving the stuff. I just wanted to drop in again because I feel like I have, I'm sure I'm not the only one who has, this kind of perspective on DK, but, I wanted to, voice the way I think about him compared to the Mario universe and, the Mario IP. And, even if Nintendo doesn't necessarily think about him this way, I feel like this is the way I think would be the best way to think about him. I like to compare it to, Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse, which, duh, but, Donald Duck has, his own history of, comics and shows and games and his own huge supporting cast, and they're all ducks. And it's all this whole thing that has, nothing to do with Mickey Mouse, and Donald is, the star, or at the very least his nephews. And it's this whole big thing. But, at the end of the day, they're all still, part of this same, franchise umbrella of whatever you would call, the Disney Toon universe. That's kind of how I think of Mario and Donkey Kong. I'm not going to say which one is the Donald Duck, because they both debuted in the same game, whereas Donald came second. So, yeah, I just, to me, it's like, they're both their own things, but they're so fundamentally connected that to say that, characters who are Donkey Kong characters are Mario characters. They're both. Like, it's because just like how characters who are Donald Duck characters are Mickey Mouse characters, because it's all the same thing. I know I have the need to classify things as well. I have ADHD too. I'm not saying you do. I don't know if you do. You explain a lot, but sorry, that was mean. I just feel like, ¿por qué no los dos? Why can't we have both? And I feel like the Donald Duck analogy was particularly apt, and I just thought about it, and I figured instead of leaving a comment, I would leave a voicemail. So, good night. It is after midnight. Hey yo, look out, it's time to go. Here we come, banana slammer, conga bonga hero. Hey yo. Hey, this is Jennifer again. Just like, I was sitting and kind of thinking about, like, the message I left earlier about the whole Donkey Kong, Mario, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck metaphor. And I kind of started thinking about, like, the ramifications for how that applies to, like, the greater DKU. And, like, I started thinking about, like, the hypothetical alternate timeline where Nintendo bought Rare instead of Microsoft. And, like, that would technically mean, if you applied my logic, that, like, Banjo and Conker were Mario sub-series because they're set in the DKU. And then, like there would have been, like, legit possibility that, like, people would be asking for, and then potentially regularly getting, like, Banjo and Conker characters in, like, Mario Kart. And it not being, like, a weird crossover thing, it just being, like, a normal thing. And I'm just like, whoa. Like, I'm not even high and my mind's blown by the thought of that. Like, just like the ramifications of that. Could you imagine? It feels so weird to think of these franchises in this way that I guess it just, like, makes you want to call into a podcast you've been binging. I gotta get some sleep. Oh. Catch you on the flip side of the banana coin. Oh. Bye.
Thank you for the calls, Jennifer. Get some sleep. What are you doing?
Yeah,
so
there's a lot. There's a long sequence. There's a lot to unpack there.
So just full disclosure, Jennifer has discovered the Kongversation recently, has been calling in to the hotline quite a bit, binging past episodes and falling down the very painful Lego built rabbit hole here of the Kongversation. I think is going into full madness from the sounds of it, but brought up really good points as far as Donkey Kong and the relation to Mario, which is something I think every hardcore Donkey Kong fan has had to kind of struggle with the success of the Super Mario Brothers movie, because it's something that's crept up every so often in the last 25 years or so of, you know, how you define Donkey Kong, how the general public defines Donkey Kong. Colin Jost, our nemesis, said, you know, just part of the Mario universe, without really giving credence to Donkey Kong's own identity, own brand. The fact that several spin-offs have originated from Donkey Kong that have no relation to Mario. So I think the Donald Duck analogy is actually a really, really apt one. And it's one I come back to. It's one that we've been talking about ourselves since the glory days of Mamechi calling into the conversation, bringing in the Disney Duck universe lore and facts, and how that so closely correlates to Donkey Kong and his relationship with Mario. Mario is the Mickey Mouse. Donkey Kong is the Donald Duck. They are frenemies. And then within the Donald Duck franchise, there are myriad of spin-offs and tie-in media that have no relation to Mickey Mouse. But Donald Duck and what's Donald Duck's lady friend name? Is Daisy? So many Daisies. Daisy Duck will sometimes tie back into Mickey Mouse, but you very seldom see Uncle Scrooge or Launchpad. And then would that make like Darkwing Duck the Banjo-Kazooie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief because these Lego Donkey Kong expansion sets do have separate branding. So you're always going to have a relationship between Mario and Donkey Kong. I mean, always. You're not going to be able to separate them. But Donkey Kong will always be given that special pedestal to stand on, where it's like, but Donkey Kong's his own thing. But, sometimes we'll play with Mario. Sometimes Mario will come around. It's a sister franchise to Mario. Because I wouldn't even say Donkey Kong's a spin-off of Mario or a sub-series of Mario. They both spun out of the Donkey Kong arcade game. Donkey Kong went in one direction, which was Donkey Kong Country. Mario went in another direction, which was Super Mario Brothers. And sometimes the twisting branches tie back together, and then they just grow back in their own direction. It's fine.
I like to think of it as Donkey Kong, the arcade game, was a single kind of entity that is neither Donkey Kong nor Mario.
Uh-huh.
But two things spun out of it. Donkey Kong Jr., the game, is the spin-off that creates the Donkey Kong franchise.
Right.
It's the one that introduces the character of Donkey Kong Jr., who's the modern Donkey Kong, at least we kind of claim to say so. And it's got the jungle elements and stuff, and a lot of stuff that influenced the game Donkey Kong Country. Then, on the other hand, another spin-off that came out of the arcade Donkey Kong game is Mario Brothers, the arcade game. Not Super Mario Brothers, but Mario Brothers, which then itself spins off the whole Mario series. So the Mario series comes out of that. The Donkey Kong series comes out of Donkey Kong Jr. They both nebulously sort of met at that one nexus point of Donkey Kong Arcade. And that Donkey Kong Arcade also has its own little follow-ups, like Mario versus Donkey Kong. And those things are part of that through line in the middle that is neither Donkey Kong nor Mario, but stuff spun out from that made Donkey Kong on the left, Mario on the right.
Right.
And they're separate things that are connected at their origin.
And then spinning out of Mario, you have Yoshi and Wario, and then spinning out of Donkey Kong, Banjo, Conker, and so on. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to you. I think that's a harder sell to maybe the general populace right now, but we'll get them there. Baby steps.
To address the other part of the call, if Nintendo bought Rare, neither Banjo or Conker would be in better straits today than they are in our current timeline. We probably wouldn't have had very many sequels to either, and there's no chance either one of them would have ever shown up in Mario Kart. Especially not Conker.
Yeah, especially not Conker, because Bad Fur Day would have still happened in this timeline, so...
You just have to think of it, and I'm not trying to squash anyone's fun, but I'm just saying you need to think of it more like the way that things operated between Nintendo and Rare. There was a sense of, here are the characters that Rare kind of created and uses and has a creative ownership over, and then here are the characters that Nintendo has. And Nintendo wasn't going to just willy-nilly start using Rare's characters in other stuff.
Right.
I think it goes against a lot of their priorities and philosophy of how they use characters. For example, they could easily throw characters from WarioWare into Mario Kart, but they don't.
Yeah. In fact, it was a big leap just to get Diddy in Mario Kart.
Which may have not happened if the buyout hadn't.
No, it was going to be, we know it's in the data. It was going to be Donkey Kong Jr. as Donkey Kong's partner. They were just going to completely annihilate the canon, and we wouldn't have gotten Diddy and Double Dash until the buyout happened. And then they're like, well, I guess there's no harm in using Diddy now, because they very much viewed Diddy as Rare's character. Even though Nintendo had full ownership of him, always had full ownership of him, that's just the way Nintendo operated. So, yeah, I think having Rare as a separate entity from Nintendo for the last 20 years, you can say, we haven't gotten the Banjo-Kazooie games I would have liked, but I still think it did a better job of keeping Banjo-Kazooie in the public consciousness than it would have necessarily happened with Nintendo. The only thing I could have seen was Banjo and Kazooie would have eventually gotten into Smash Brothers sooner, but Smash Brothers doesn't correlate with Mario Kart. So whether or not there would have been a greater connection, hard to say. I mean, we don't know. This is all a hypothetical alternate timeline that we're not living in. So
I don't think that we'd see the Mario franchise and the Banjo franchise casually crossing over like one is a spin-off out of the other. I don't think we would see that really happening. You may see them show up in something, but it wouldn't be treated like, oh, this is normal and casual, because Banjo is a spin-off of Donkey Kong, which is part of Mario. That's normal. I don't think they would have gone to that level.
It's hard to say, but yeah, then you would have, I think, had that starker divide where Diddy wouldn't be showing up in these things. So it wouldn't just be, here comes Banjo and Kazooie in Mario Kart. There would just be Banjo-Kazooie's Rare's baby.
They didn't even put EGAD or Toadsworth in Mario Kart. I think you can't let your imagination run too wild, because there's cool stuff they could do right now that they won't do. They won't even put Wart in Mario Kart, or Mauser or anything like that. So, they have access to characters right now that they're not using or not cross-using because of whatever reasons they have. So I don't think it necessarily would have been the case that okay, well, I'm going to play as Mumbo Jumbo in Mario Kart 8. And, I don't think we would have seen that really happening.
Yeah. Now, Toadsworth does make a cameo in Mario Kart Double Dash, Jeff. I just want to clarify here.
Not playable.
No, but he drives the cart at the end and gives them the trophy.
Yeah, that's true. Let's get the next call.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the calls, Jennifer. I realize you've called in quite a lot recently. I'm saving your other calls for when they are appropriate to play, but do not worry. I have them. All right. Let's take the next caller is yet again a 2-point attack. So we got 2 calls, 1 caller. Let's play them both and respond.
Hey, Hyle. Sorry in advance if I sniffle or I sound a little congested. I'm getting over a cold. Oh, this is Traveler of the Stars, by the way. Calling about these Legos. I just want to say, I've grown up being weaned, or Lego. I'm sorry, Hyle. I know they're called Legos for plural, but just like Amiibo, I'm calling them Amiibos and Legos, damn it. Even though I'm usually, the grammar Nazi. But anyway, I grew up weaned on Legos, and I love Legos, and nowadays I haven't gotten as many sets, just due to space and getting older and stuff. I have a Lego bonsai tree and the Lego Sonic set, but I don't get Legos all too often. So when I saw Nintendo was finally making Mario Legos, I thought that was such a genius idea. And even though I do wish they were still the regular minifigures stuff, and I hope they'll make one day. I mean, just how it's kind of a video game, but also still Legos, and they kind of combine the two. It's ingenious. I mean, really, this is so awesome, and I've loved how they've branched out a lot. They've had some Luigi's Mansion sets, and they've, had some cool, neat, I don't know if deep cut characters is kind of the right word. But anyway, they've had some cool characters, and so when I saw they were doing Donkey Kong, I was really excited, and I did notice, I know you mentioned this a lot, obviously, about how the brands are being separated now, but when I saw the DK Lego boxes, I thought it was very telling how, and I know you're going to talk about this probably if you haven't yet, but, the DK branding was right front and center. It is a little weird, which I know you're going to talk about as well, how DK isn't like an actual starter hero like Mario, Luigi, and Peach. I was kind of expecting that. But nevertheless, it's still really cool. I will just say, as someone who grew up on Returns, it's cool to see the Mole Miner and the Shark Snaggle. Is that his name? I don't remember. It's just cool to see them. Obviously, I know people want the Kremlins and stuff like that, which I'm sure, as we'll branch off into more sets, I think there's a good chance we could get them. But as you mentioned, I think elsewhere, since Returns is the newest thing, they're obviously not going to pull from, Kremlins just yet until major game, possibly. And I think I'm running low on this call here, so let me call back really quickly. Hey, DK Vine, Traveler of the Stars again. I'll make this quick, because I was kind of rambling. I just think it's cool if there are DK Legos, and I'm sure you guys think it is too. I mean, increasingly, you mentioned this before, they wouldn't be investing, in the DK brand in this sort of way, yada, 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 if it was dead. I mean, Zelda and Kirby and other things, not throwing those shades of those franchises, I love them, but they aren't getting a theme park. They aren't in a major blockbuster movie. They aren't getting Legos. They aren't getting all this stuff. I mean, this is really big stuff that I feel like just the calm before the storm. I mean, there's only so many things you guys can point to before deniers can just be like, all right, yeah, there's probably something with DK coming. So I'm sure that must be just gratifying. Obviously, the success of the Mario movie, increasing DK awareness, and now a beloved brand, Legos. It's pretty cool. I guess to ask a question, if you could have one Lego set based off of something, what would you have it be? I mean, a lot of the Mario sets usually don't have specific iconography to reference, aside from Bowser's Castle and Peach's Castle, and they already have DK's, Jungle Hut or whatever. So I don't know what an equivalent would be, maybe the Gangplank Galleon. That's a iconic thing. But anyway, sorry for the longer call. Looking forward to hearing what you guys say. See you later.
Well, thank you for the calls, Traveler of the Stars. To answer your question, I think we'll broach that, what sets we would like to see in the future after we take all the calls, just on the off chance that other callers will also ask us this question. I feel like it would be appropriate just to wait until the end to share our opinions. But yeah, I think that, the Lego Donkey Kong sets are just another brick in the wall of the long, winding evidence that there are big plans for the Donkey Kong brand. And yet, some people still refuse to see it or acknowledge it because we haven't had the new game yet. And, Kirby and Zelda, they don't get all of this attention. But you know what? You know what they do get? They get games on the regular. So I think until we get the game, people are just going to poo-poo all of this other stuff. And fair. I mean, I get it.
I would make the trade in a heartbeat. I don't need the Legos if they had the games. Kirby's had 10 games in the time it's taken us since Tropical Freeze came out. And I'm not poo-pooing anything. It's just a statement. But my point is, there's no such thing as an all-encompassing fandom. Every person brings their own interests to fandom.
Right.
And they're fans of different things. And you and I and DK Vine try to cover a lot of the Donkey Kong fandom's various intersecting desires. But a lot of people who are fans of Donkey Kong are fans of video games and not Lego sets. And they're fans of video games and not theme parks or kids movies. So, I don't think it's anyone should be shamed or they're not wrong for saying that all this other stuff doesn't matter to me. I want a new game to play, because that might be what you are a fan of, only the games. And you might not even be a fan of discussing lore. You might not be a fan of solving continuity, which is a huge part of what we are about. You might just really like those video games, and that's fine. So everyone brings their own desires to it, and if you think that if you get irritated when people keep saying the Donkey Kong brand is so healthy, and you're like, well, how healthy is it? There's no games. I'm only a fan of the games. You are right for, at least for what you're interested in. The franchise is in dire fucking straits from your perspective. I think the evidence is that there's something going to come, but we've been saying that for 5 years, and you have every right to be tired of that.
You do, but something's obviously coming. Look, I like this is going to be the most magnificent case of edging we've ever experienced, Jeff. It's been so long. It's going to
come out. Is it going to have more than 5 Donkey Kong characters in it? Because that will be terrible edging. That will be like edging, and then what do you call that when you? It's a bad ending. I don't remember what. I don't know my sex terminology like you guys. It's, you know what? Sometimes it can be. I think that the endless optimism can be worse to some people than just telling it straight.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying some people are uplifted by optimism.
Yeah.
Other people are like, when it's years and years of like, just hold on, it's gonna be good. Oh, just hold on, it's gonna be good. That can grate on people too. I'm just saying, everyone, you're valid. You're valid for how you're feeling. You're valid, and hopefully it gets better soon.
Yeah. Luckily, the DK Vine itself. I saw somebody make a comment the other day. You realize for the entire extent that the Kongversation has been on the air, you've only had one new full standalone Donkey Kong game. How is that possible? How are you still going and thriving as a podcast if that's the case? And luckily, we at DK Vine, we sort of weather that storm because we look at the expanded Donkey Kong universe. Everything spinning out of Rare and Platonic, and I realize that's not like every corner of the fandom does not care about Yooka-Laylee or Sea of Thieves, but that's how DK Vine has subsided this long. We have all of that extra stuff. So to us, it hasn't really been a drought, but yeah, if you're just in it for the Donkey Kong games, yeah, it's been a rough 9+ years at this point. But stuff like the Lego set, stuff like the movie, stuff like the theme park, it might not be a new game, but they would not be investing all that capital if there wasn't a future for the brand. Because Nintendo, at the end of the day, is a video game company. So
yeah, and they're definitely making more. Like Donkey Kong as a video game franchise isn't canceled.
Right.
It's not done.
Right.
There will be more. So it's just a case of waiting it out.
And if Donkey Kong does get himself canceled, they'll just rebrand it as The Kongs, like they did with that Roseanne show. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the calls, Traveler to the Stars. Hope you're feeling better. All right, Jeff, let's go ahead and take our 5th call, which, not to confuse things, is our 3rd caller.
Okay.
Hello, Hyle, and the co-host for this Kongversation episode. I am Saber Black Cat 64. You may have known me as that cat who was an actor on the 90s sitcom that you may have heard of. Anyways, I'm pretty excited to see some more Donkey Kong merchandise in general, like the Lego set that was announced weeks ago. So I'm kind of curious to see how they go with where they go with those sets. I got a couple of questions I think that will be interesting to answer regarding those. Firstly, the 2 enemies that were in the set, like that shark and the mole miner, I wonder what those 2 are going to be. I wonder if those 2 enemies are going to be a future Donkey Kong games, because they're actually in the set. And also my second question is pretty much this. Since the Universal Studios theme park is said to have Tiki Kong in the Minecart attraction, could he actually get a Lego set in this collection? It's pretty obvious K. Rool will probably get one soon. So anyways, that's all I have to say on this episode, on this call. I hope you have a good day, and I'll be going ahead and being sarcastic in my day. I'll continue being sarcastic in my life. Bye.
Did they lose their accent like 30 seconds into the call?
I mean, a comment on that. I'm just really glad that they called and asked a question and then hung up. It's like very timely. No, I think, will we see those enemies in the next game was, I think, the first question.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel. Personally, I would love to have a lot of Retro's game elements, including some of the enemies and stuff, to just become permanent fixtures of like the DK Islands, fauna,
Yeah.
And you can have the Kremlings come back, but that doesn't mean you have to like change up which sharks and frogs and bats we have, because who cares? Like, you can mix and match. You don't have to erase Retro. You don't have to erase Retro Studios' contributions to bring back stuff like the Kremlings. So I would love a mix. I like how Tropical Freeze, although it didn't have the Tiki Tac tribe as the main enemies, you still have things like the Screaming Pillars, and some of those returns elements.
Snaggles. Snaggles, for one, was a returning element. Was in both games. You had the mimics in the silhouette stages. So yeah. Like it wasn't just let's start everything from scratch. Just like Rare did, where they were like, okay, new Kremlings in this game, but we'll bring back zingers. We'll bring zingers back because we like the zingers. Retro did the same thing with some of their baddies, and I'm hoping that the future of Donkey Kong, as I've been saying, everything will be on the table again. It won't just be, well, it's a new team doing Donkey Kong, we have to start from scratch yet again. It's, okay, we're going to create our own enemies, but we're also going to pull in a couple of these from Returns, a couple of these from Donkey Kong Country 3 and Donkey Kong 64 and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, this, and this. I want there to be a healthy mix and celebration of Donkey Kong's entire history. And I think that's probably the most likely thing going forward, especially with all of these things that they've set up in the last couple of years, like brand management for Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong alone. You're getting a little bit more of that. We saw that with Kingdom Battle, with the Donkey Kong Adventure DLC, where you had little call-outs to Rambi and Squawks, yes, but also in Guard, Winky, and Espresso were explicitly acknowledged for the first time in sort of a Donkey Kong game in many years. So, yeah, I think you're going to see some of these enemies sticking around for sure. I don't think we can really indicate anything from the Lego sets because these are specifically referencing Returns and Tropical Freeze. It's not really like, oh, okay, yeah, well, Snaggles is secure now. Snaggles fans rejoice. Snaggles is sticking around into the new era. It's not necessarily that, but I think there's a good chance for sure.
Right, and I will also say, I think the biggest thing that if Retro Studios has a lasting legacy on the franchise, the biggest thing that it will be is the visual stylings that sure. Retro bought. That I think that the specific, not to say that a new game won't have its own touches, but I think that the look of Donkey Kong Island and the look of their jungles and the look of their temples has been really solidified as a kind of standardized thing since Returns came out over 12 years ago. And it's that kind of look is influenced everything since. It's carried over and influenced how Donkey Kong is portrayed in cameo games. It's influenced the Donkey Kong Adventure in Mario plus Rabbids. It influenced the look of Donkey Kong's Kingdom in the Mario movie. And I think that things like that, the Golden Temple stylings, the jungle elements, the jungle huts with the palm frond roofs and stuff like that, I think that all of that stuff is going to continue to be cemented. But then whether or not they actually bring back enemies, I hope they do. I think that you can have a healthy mix of their original characters and enemies mixed with new original characters and enemies mixed with even older rare characters and enemies like the Kremlings coming back.
Exactly. And I would be all for a Tiki Tong set. Give me Tiki Tong. I wanna have Mario walk on his hands.
Yeah, so that question, that was the second question. Will we see a Tiki Tong set? Will we see a King K. Rool set? It's interesting because as much as I like the Snowmads more than the Tiki Tac tribe, I feel like the Snowmads are so context sensitive because of their ice theming that they are not as evergreen elements that you could just stick into stuff.
Sure.
And I think that Tiki's kind of are, as much as they're not necessarily as exciting of enemies. They have a very evergreen theme and style to them that you could just stick into any Donkey Kong setting or set, and it works. So maybe I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah. Well, as much as I feel like the Snowmads were an improvement over the Tikis are far more evergreen for antagonists because they are native to Donkey Kong's jungle. They're not these outside invaders whose main modus operandi is freezing everything.
Yeah, it's such a specific plot when you're like, okay, these guys are around when we freeze things. Like they're gonna come and freeze the thing. So like when you're making a general Donkey Kong themed setting in Lego, you're not gonna be like, well, let's make a Frozen set. That's not general. That's very specific.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that we probably would not see the Snowmads. We may see Tikis because they're so much more applicable. You could just slot them into any general setting. And then would we see Kremlings? Like, would we see K. Rool? I don't know, because everything we've seen so far seems so specifically themed on Retro's games. I don't know if we'd see K. Rool.
I think we're gonna have to wait until K. Rool gets reintroduced in a Donkey Kong game proper. Like maybe not, but I think that's probably the most likely scenario here. We just don't have anything visually to go off of. The last Donkey Kong game he was in, it was Donkey Kong Barrel Blast, right? He was in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, looked wonderful in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Super Smash Bros. Is not Donkey Kong or a Mario brand. So
yeah, Super Smash Bros. Is going to influence the next Donkey Kong game that gets made, but it's not going to influence Lego. Lego's going to be influenced by the last Donkey Kong game that got made.
Right.
So we do have to kind of wait to see to have the new game that is then going to outward and affect everything else that comes out of Donkey Kong.
Exactly. Which is coming, and believe me, it's going to be magnificent when it does come. It's going to be spectacular. Just wait a little bit longer.
Or we might not like it.
No, the build-up is going to make it worth it, trust me. All right, thank you for the call. Let's go ahead and play our next call.
Hey, DK Vine. This is Matt, or Square, on what used to be the forum. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm a big fan of this new Lego set. I think it's really cool. I really like the Minecart one with Diddy Kong and the Rambi one. Don't know if I'll be able to pick any of these up. Lego's expensive, but it all looks cool. And I think what's interesting about this for me is it really cements the fact that Funky Kong is one of the core Kongs. You know, he's up there with the Dixie, with the Cranky. And I feel like at this point, whenever the next Donkey Kong game comes out, I think it's very likely that Funky Kong is going to be part of the cast for the foreseeable future. So I guess I just wonder, do you agree with me? Do you think that's right, or do you think this is just, a push for the most recent game? He was playable, so let's put him in the merch. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Square, was it?
I think they said Matt/Square.
Okay, well, this is Jeff/Rare. I'm Hyle/Platonic. Nice to have you call in.
To answer the question, yeah, I think that Funky Kong is locked in as a core character at this point. I would be pretty upset if the next game yet again goes a bare to basics cast in the way that Returns had only 3 Kongs in it.
Yeah.
Tropical Freeze, as much as it feels like a huge expansion on Returns, still only brought the cast up to 5. But I think that those 5 are really well locked in now. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I would be surprised if Funky Kong doesn't stick around as a mainstay.
It would be as surprising as not having Engard in Tropical Freeze, which means it might not happen. But I think that, yeah, especially now that Nintendo and Miyamoto are really playing up this idea of the Kongs, right? It's not just Donkey Kong that they're really building up anymore. It's the Kongs. The Kongs as a civilization, as a people. And you're really seeing that with this Lego set, with the Mario movie. And yeah, these 5 in particular, I think we're going to see more than these 5 in the future, but I think these 5 are your standard bearers. These are your flagship Kongs that you're going to come to time and again. Donkey, Diddy, Dixie, Cranky, and Funky. And yeah, if you would have asked me like a long time ago, like what Kongs would be the most important Kongs, I would have said Donkey, Diddy, Dixie, Kitty, you know, and then maybe a few years after that, I would have thought of Tiny, Chunky, and Lanky. But Funky has really, I think, been the Kong who has come out of the buyout the strongest Kong, where he's kind of become so important. And part of that is his role in Mario Kart Wii, and part of that is just he's just a fun character. And whenever somebody learns of Funky Kong, they can't help but love Funky Kong. He's got staying power, which is far beyond just his origins as this, you know, early 90s surfer pastiche. You know, it's amazing to me that Funky Kong has endured for as long as he has, and it's only gotten more popular to the point where a couple of weeks ago, he was on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I think Funky Kong benefits greatly from first game syndrome, which is that, like, the game that gets the most elements taken from it and referenced from it is always going to be Donkey Kong Country. Stuff that is exclusive to Donkey Kong Country 2 or 3 will get referenced less frequently. And I think that Donkey Kong 64 is also this big watershed moment in the franchise. As much as people didn't, maybe in hindsight, don't rate it as highly, Donkey Kong Country, the first game, Donkey Kong 64, those 2 games are where like 90% of Donkey Kong references come from now. Mm-hmm. Like, if you look at what Super Smash Brothers pulls from for its characters, where they get the move sets and where they get references, Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong 64 far and away get referenced way more than DKC 2 or 3. And the fact that Funky Kong was consistent through that, and, you know, Dixie Kong wasn't even, I think Funky Kong really stood to benefit the most out of some of the secondary characters that helped promote him to become a primary character.
Yeah.
Of things like Swanky Kong or whatever. Who's well, I'm not going to say anything about Swanky Kong, but it is interesting that this Lego set has exactly 7 Donkey Kong characters, and it is exactly the 7 that are the ones that Retro brought back.
Right.
Donkey, Diddy, Dixie, Funky, Cranky, Squawks, and Rambi. The only 7 returning characters in all 2 of Retro's games.
Right.
But yeah, I think that those ones are really the core cast. If we have one, if we have a core cast, that's it.
Yeah, I don't think any fan of those characters. I mean, obviously Donkey and Diddy are always safe. Remember, there was a time in the buyout era where we fretted about Diddy's future, which seems laughable now. But Donkey and Diddy, of course, are always safe. Cranky has been well established, and now with the movie, you know, he's always going to be around. And Dixie and Funky have definitely, I think, proven themselves. Dixie's such a strong character that even though she doesn't have that first game syndrome pull, she's a stronger character than Candy Kong. So I think she kind of gets, and she's a nice counterpart to Diddy too. So,
well, and there's also, I mean, she's a great character in and of herself.
Right.
Absolutely. But there's always also going to be a desire to not make things a sausage fest.
Right.
It would be inappropriate to make every new game only have male characters in it. That would be stupid. You would never do that. So, and I'm not saying that she's like the token female or anything like that, but I am saying you do want a variety. You want female characters in your games. And Dixie Kong's one of the best female characters in any games.
That's true.
So, like, for her to be cemented as a mainstay, I think that's great. But I think, yeah, it makes sense to do it. You want to have her in there. She's great.
Yeah, but yeah, this is the golden age of Funky Kong fandom. So thank you for the call and enjoy it. All right, we got one final call to take, Jeff. I can sense you're getting sleepy. So we're going to play this, and then you can go sleep in your Lego hammock.
I love it. It's so good on my back.
All right, here we go.
Hi, this is Porygon Q, long time listener, first time caller here. And I just had to call into this episode because, honestly, I am a huge Lego fan. And seeing Lego Donkey Kong like this is just so freaking cool. Now, technically, if you want to be that guy, and I will, this is not the first DKU Lego theme, because, Lego Minecraft exists, and that is technically DKU, and also has a lot of really cool sets. But just looking at Lego DK specifically, I think it's probably healthy to not read, too far into this. This is huge, this is incredible, this shit really shows, the priorities with Donkey Kong and Nintendo, but, I don't think there's a Kremling embargo or anything like that. I mean, maybe, but I doubt it. And when it comes to this wave, I think Lego Group probably just wanted to get the hero characters out first anyway, with, Donkey, Diddy, Funky, Cranky, all them. And only ones that set even have enemies in it anyway. Going forward, I think with this, I'll probably prioritize fun first, and, just given the nature of Lego Super Mario with the barcodes that you have to put Lego Mario on, any enemy that they do add will probably have to have a big flat surface on it anyway, which, honestly, hot takes, the Tikis probably would just be better at from a mechanical perspective. Granted, I love the hell out of the Kremlings. I'd love to see the Kremlings, but I do think the Tikis do work better in this specific context. Besides, a lot of kids nowadays who would buy this know DK from the movie, from Mario Kart 8, and from Smash Brothers. So a situation where the Tikis are the drone characters and K. Rool is the boss, that combo is pretty likely, I think. And honestly, it would be pretty interesting. Honestly, I think it's just important to take it for what it is. This is a humongous win. And, having cheap sets like the $11 Rambi set is an incredibly good way to get kids into Lego DK and then, into Donkey Kong proper. And I think that alone more than justifies this as a humongous win for the fan base. Question is, what kind of sets you guys think are the most likely? Personally, I think an 18-plus Lego Ideas 25M replica is pretty likely out of any set. That's probably the one we're going to see first. And then after that, probably some sort of smaller enemy-centric pack in the next game of Battle Pack sort of deal. It's also pretty likely. But yeah, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this, and, have a great day.
Well, hey, thank you for the call, Porygon Q. Great to finally hear your voice, because you're a prominent fixture in our Twitch streams and on social media, always interacting with you. Great to hear you finally call in.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the question?
Well, the question basically was asking what sets we wanted to see, but Porygon brought up some great points. The lack of a girder. Yeah, the lack of a girder stage or set is prominent. They're really sticking with Donkey Kong Country stylings here, and yeah, when you think about what sets we might get that aren't really part of this line but still use the licensing deal with Nintendo, stuff like the big NES set with Super Mario Brothers on the TV, or the Bowser giant statue surrounded by flames. What might we get? And yeah, that's actually, I think, a really solid prediction is the 25M arcade stage. Just recreate that with Legos. Lego. Ooh, shit, I did it. Oh my god. Scandal. Oh my god. Scandalous as Mario riding on Rambi's back. But that's a good call.
I think that the 25M is something very likely to happen. It just tactily and functionally translates really well to a Lego set. And but I also think in general, what they're trying to pull from when people are saying oh, why did they reference the Kremlings, or why did what blah 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 blah. I think in general they're trying to reference software you can buy right now on your Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
That's right. What everything is about, really.
It's spend money to make more money. That's all it is. And people talk about there being an embargo in Crowns. We got past this, Jeff. We were past this when Super Smash Bros. Ultimate revealed K. Rool. And now we're right back into it. Oh, there's a Kremling embargo. No crocodiles. Does Rare own the Kremlings? Like, no!
Are people still saying that one?
Oh yeah, that's come back. Yeah, that's come back now. Because you're like, well, K. Rool, and they're like, well, Banjo and Kazooie are in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Checkmate! They don't know how to play chess, but they shout checkmate at you. I want to say, on the record, or whatever record DK Vine equates with, I just want to say there's no embargo on the Kremlings, which Nintendo owned 100%. The only reason we don't see them in stuff like this is because they haven't been in a Donkey Kong game, since Donkey Kong Barrel Blast. So, you're not going to see them referenced. As soon as they appear in a new Donkey Kong game, we will get Kremlings and stuff like this.
Yeah, yeah. They're just referencing the most recent actual piece of Donkey Kong software that is still being sold and promoted for the Nintendo Switch console. That's all this is.
Yeah.
As for the question about what sets do we think we'll see, which a couple of our callers now have asked. Well, what do you think?
Well, I was thinking, we have the Lego Super Mario sets. We now have the Lego Super Mario Donkey Kong expansion set branding. It would be cool if we kind of met in the middle and we had Mario Kart branded sets as well, for more crossover play. I don't know how you would do a kart in this style, but it'd be cool to have like a Rainbow Road or something of that nature.
Yeah, no, I agree. That would be cool. I also agree that I don't know how I can envision it being in this big chunky rectangle style with the beep boops, but yeah, I don't know. That would be cool. Obviously, like I said before, I like building cars in Lego. You buy a bunch of wheels and now you've got wheels. You stick them to anything.
Yeah.
Now you got a car. As far as Donkey Kong, if they did more Donkey Kong, which I will not be surprised if this is all that we see of Donkey Kong. Like, other than like you said, something that is with the licensing deal, but not within this line, like a 25M big thing or whatever. I could see that.
Now, can I just say, if this set sells well, I think we'll see more. Like, if it does bigger business than they were anticipating, then we might see follow-up sets, for sure. Or enemy packs or whatever that tie into this. Absolutely. But I could see this being it. Like, this is just kind of a one-time thing. This is what we're getting. But, of course, what would be the fun of just ending there? This is our imagination time, so we can speculate wildly.
So what would they do if they did more? And that's the question. And I'm thinking, so for me, when I think of the main set pieces or main archetypes of the Donkey Kong franchise, I go to three things. And I don't think they'll actually do this. But the three things that I think of are jungles, minecarts, and pirate ships.
Right.
But pirate ships have very little, hardly at all, influence on what we have seen of the Donkey Kong franchise in the past 15 years. That's old school. I mean, there are a little bit of pirate shippy stuff in the retro games, but they're not a front and center core archetype. So I don't think we'll see that. But what I do think that the retro games make front and center as a set piece, as a setting that is just being plastered all over the Donkey Kong franchise now, is Golden Temples.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Golden Temple is definitely a setting we could see, very likely, if they do more sets.
I could also just see sort of a generic return style temple. It's not the Golden Temple, but you could have a lot of unique Indiana Jones style set pieces in there with the characters exploring this ancient temple. And just to speak on your pirate ship point, obviously the set I think most Donkey Kong fans, if you were to poll all of us across every age range, from those who were, okay, we'll just say every age range starting from the oldest Donkey Kong Country fans on down to those who got on board with the franchise, maybe with the Mario movie. I think what would win percentage-wise would be the Gangplank Galleon. Everybody wants the Gangplank Galleon, this iconic ship, the Millennium Falcon of Donkey Kong. It's the Gangplank Galleon. And we're probably not going to get that. But that's what we would want. If Lego could come to us and say, we're doing one more Donkey Kong set, what would you like to see? We were like, well, the Gangplank Galleon with King or Captain K. Rool. Maybe both. I was like, okay. Done. But if we were to see a pirate ship, it would probably be Mass Blast from Donkey Kong Country Returns. Something like that. With the little crabbies, little crabos. Mass Blast. Speaking from more realistic expectations, I think there are a few stages from the retro games that I would absolutely love. Not the retro Donkey Kong games, but the games made by Retro Studios, which are in fact the more recent Donkey Kong games. Grassland Groove might make for a neat course, especially with like the animal heads popping out that are flat, you know.
Yeah, I mean the kineticness of that stage and the visual appeal definitely sets it apart. I'm just thinking of things like first stage syndrome, first world syndrome, first game syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
How often the things that get pulled from tend towards the earliest things in the game that everyone sees. Those are the things that become the generic and iconic elements. So I don't know if they would pull from something that late. I mean, they've done it with some of the Lego, with some of the Mario stuff, but Mario obviously is a bigger, brand, they've done more sets. They've gone deeper because they've done many sets. I don't know, but maybe Grassland Groove would be very cool. I'm thinking of things maybe more general, not so specific of levels. Things like an underwater coral area would be cool. Something like maybe even a Squidicus octopus thing.
Yeah, you could build all the tentacles with your Lego.
Yeah, and there could be some movable and interactable elements to that. I think of things like Retro's kind of vision of the Donkey Kong world. You have the very generic tropes that carry over to everything is you have jungles, beaches, water, and temples.
Mm-hmm.
Anything beyond that is like really hyper specific. Like I don't think we would see a factory set, or the temperate forest set, because those are very specific. But I think jungle, beach, water, and temple are all kind of one setting almost, just like in the Congo jungle.
Yeah.
And they all kind of work well together. That's where I'd put all my money if I was betting money. I'd put all my money on everything landing in that Q zone. But yeah, Grassland Groove would be sweet.
I think, so we obviously already have the Minecart set, so we probably wouldn't see a secondary Minecart, because I was thinking, Sawmill Thrill is a really iconic, I think that's everybody's favorite of the retro Minecart stage. Well, maybe not everybody's, but I think that's pretty much a universal crowd pleaser. But I was thinking, there's another vehicle that's kind of become iconic from the retro games, the Rocket Barrel. And we don't have the Rocket Barrel represented anywhere here. So I was thinking, if you were to take this sort of maybe amalgamation of Rocket Barrel stages, like the Minecart's Lego set is, how would you best represent that? And I was thinking, what if you have sort of something harkening back to Crowded Cavern from Donkey Kong Country Returns with the Mama Squeakly chasing you?
I don't want to use the word iconic, but they're very evocative, like simple, solid enemy in the same way that Snaggles and Mole Miner are.
Yeah.
That would fit in a setting and just work. So I would like that a lot. I could even see a Rocket Barrel just being a very small, cheap, Rambi-sized set where it's just the rocket that a character can attach to or sit on, and then maybe it is propped up on a see-through piece of plastic. So it's like got a pedestal that it is propped up in the air on a see-through piece of plastic, and then it's like rotatable on that, so you can have it like look like it's going up and down or something. Even if it was just the barrel and no like setting around it, I could see them doing that. And the other thing I was thinking of other than Minecarts, what's a really common gameplay thing they do is the barrel blasting.
Oh.
Barrel cannons. And I don't know how that would work, because I think a rocket barrel makes sense because you can attach the character to the outside of it, like they're riding it. But if they did a barrel blasting thing, a barrel cannon thing, would they have to make it so the characters can fit inside it? And how is that going to work? But it could be cool.
You have to factor in the beep boops. How is Mario going to react to getting blasted out of a barrel?
You do have to factor in the beep boops. I would like it to be spring loaded, and you plug the Mario into there, and then you hit the thing, and it launches him out a little bit.
Do they even make spring loaded toys anymore? I feel like things have gotten so litigious that they're just worried that kids would put out their eye with Mario.
Well, it shouldn't have a high launch force, but I don't know. They wouldn't do it because the Mario toy is an electronic that they probably don't want damaged.
Probably not. I have an open mind, but I know I'm going to have to be very careful with it. I can't spring it out of anything. That's just common sense. That's just common sense. So, Jeff, final thoughts. You're not a millionaire. We've established that much. You could dress the part. You just get enough Lego that you can make a monocle. We probably shouldn't put Lego in your eye, though. We just established that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. But you're not a millionaire. You're probably not going to buy these, but you're at least intrigued. You're intrigued enough to want to be on this episode of the Kongversation.
I very much like the idea. I love Lego, even though I don't have the money to play Lego that much as an adult. I just love the idea of Lego and the memories I have of Lego from my childhood. So, even though I'm probably not going to play any of these or like build any of these sets, own any of these sets, I love the idea that this could be some kid's first Lego set. Because I remember like my first Lego sets and all the things I'd build with Legos. So it's cool to me to think that kids 6 years old and 7 years old and stuff are going to be playing with Legos, and they're going to have Donkey Kong in their Lego set. So I think it's great. I love that, but I am not a millionaire. So
right, you're not, and for me, as somebody who didn't play with Lego when they were a kid, who felt like maybe they missed out, I'm excited to kind of open up this chapter that was never written of my childhood and finally check that off the bucket list before I die, which is getting closer every day. We're not getting any younger here. So I'm going to play with some Lego come August. And then, maybe I'll watch SpongeBob. And maybe I'll finally stream Shrek. Finally check that out. I'm just gonna live vicariously through this and have an extended little bit of childhood into the early 2000s. Why not?
Why not?
So yeah, things are looking pretty good. Pretty good for Donkey Kong fans right now. I mean, we got the Lego, we've got the theme park, we've got the appearances in the movie, the over-sexualized Funky Kong skit on Saturday Night Live. I mean, I don't know how things could be any better for Donkey Kong fans. We're certainly in a better position than Zelda right now, that's for sure.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.
Whoa.
There. That's where I gotta go.
How do I get over there?
There! The fan! Add it!
It flies!
No!
Oh, you just messed with the wrong...
We're goblin!
Go up there!
What is that?
And check this out.
Yes! Finally!
You'll be surprised at what you can do when you master your imagination. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, only on Nintendo Switch.